Hi, I'm Peggy Hansen and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to freeze sweet corn. Right now I'm shucking 6 ears of beautiful Featherstone Farm sweet corn. And while I'm doing this, I have a pot of water, big pot of water, at least a gallon, that I'm bringing to a boil. There's no salt in it, there's no sugar in it. This sweet corn is as sweet as we need it. And I'm pulling off, shucking this. Now, see this nice pile of husks? I'm going to compost this, and I hope that's what you do too with your corn husks. Now I have the corn husked, and the silk is, you know, these little thready things. Sometimes they're a little annoying. I'm going to pick off some of them. Once in a while you get just a little icky part, you just cut that off. Compost that too. Now while we're waiting for the water to boil, I'll show you what kind of equipment that you need. You're going to need the pot of boiling water, a big bowl of ice water so that you can cool the corn after we've cooked it. I have tongs, a nice big cutting board, a sharp paring knife, some freezer bags, and a little canning funnel circa 1976 to use to help load the corn into the bag once it's cooked. Freezing your own sweet corn is really very easy, but it does take some time. And some people might ask, well, why would we even bother to do this? Because, you know, you really can get pretty decent frozen corn at the grocery store, and even frozen organic corn. But once you've tasted your own frozen corn from good quality corn like this, I don't think you'll ever go back, and there truly is a difference. And there is a little love in this corn that is not going to be in your commercial varieties. So we're waiting right now for the water to come to a full boil. Now this water is at a full rolling boil. Look at that. We're going to put in these ears. I think we can fit in all 6. That one might have to get its end chopped off. I have a bigger pot somewhere. I just decided not to use it for this, but maybe I should have. Now see, it's going to take a little bit for it to come back to a big boil. I'm going to let it come back to a boil. This is kind of hot work. Right now my kitchen probably has a humidity of about 100%. If you're going to preserve corn and tomatoes, you're going to have to learn how to live with a little perspiration. Okay, I'm going to cover it up so that'll bring it back to a boil faster. Just peek. We'll let that go for about 5 minutes.
Sturdy?
Okay, all right. Well, it's been just about 5 minutes. See, it's still boiling there, and now I'm going to put the corn into this big bowl of ice water to stop the cooking and to make it easier to work with. Isn't that beautiful and yellow? Now, if you're making, you know, it's more efficient to do a lot of this at once. If you had more corn, then of course you could reuse this water. But for today's purposes, we're just doing this small batch. Okay. Now we're going to cut the corn. It's a nice big fat ear. And there are various corn cutting devices. I've tried to use them, and you know, without success. I'm just back to a nice sharp paring knife. And what I do when I cut the kernels, I don't cut it all the way down. It's about maybe 3/4 of the way that you would cut this. See, there's still some corn left there, but I don't want to get that whole milky part. This will get easier the more you try it. And every kernel isn't going to be perfect, and that's how you know it's homemade and not done by machine. Whew, still a little hot in the middle. Alright, cut, 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 cut. There we go. And now we've got corn kernels right here. And for now, I'm just going to put them all in a big bowl. And it's nice to have something just to lift them up here. When we're done, we'll measure this so that we know how much corn you'll get from 6 big ears. You basically are going to do that with every ear of corn. Now, I'm also going to show you with this ear how to cut the creamy part. There's still a lot of good nutrition on here and a good corniness. I take a regular old table knife, the dull end, and I just run it down like this. You get the last goodness out of there. Just kind of run it down. You wouldn't have to do this, but I don't know. I like it. And this, normally when I freeze corn, I would just put this all together and freeze it right with it. Or you could keep this separate and call it cream corn. It's up to you. Sometimes you might want to keep this separate if you're going to be using the corn in a salsa or some other use where you really want this, just the kernels. This I'm going to compost. And we'll just do one more and then you're going to be on your own. Make sure you've got a nice big cutting board and make sure you've got a good grip on the corn. The sharper your knife, the safer this is, because it's not going to slip and slide around. Now here it's a little bit tougher to balance on this end. It's okay. I just don't know how to do this much faster than this. Some people, if you do this all the time, probably can be a little faster than me. My sister worked for a summer at the corn plant in Le Sueur, Minnesota. I still remember what she looked like when she came home after 14 hours of being on the corn canning line. You really don't want to see what her apron looked like, but it improved her motivation to continue her college studies. Now I've got some of that creamy corn and the kernels in this bowl, and I'm just kind of stirring it around a little bit to kind of break up those little sheets of kernels. Just a little soak, and then we've got a freezer bag. This is a quart. You can do 2 cups, or which is the same as a pint. It helps to have something to kind of set it in unless you have a helper. And I'm just going to put this in here. The canning funnel really does help with this part. Okay, and then see, we're going to kind of lift this out here. How that works. Put this aside, and you can add more. Basically can put about a quart here, and then once it's full, I'll just show you with this just smaller amount here. You're just going to press it down and seal it, and then you can take a wipe off this label part and write on there, August 11th, 2010, sweet corn from Featherstone Farm.